Hi, today we're going to talk about why you should never retweet, screenshot, repeat, or if you're a journalist, quote a lie, an unverified claim, misinformation, an offensive statement. Why you should never, even if it's for the purpose of fact checking or debunking, even if you are quote tweeting someone else's post because you want to show how wrong they are and how outrageous they are. There is really good, solid scientific reasons why you should not be doing this. And the reason that we're looking at this particular study, Causes and Consequences of Mainstream Media Dissemination of Fake News, is because it was a 2020 study report. And what they found was that most people hear about fake news stories not from fake news websites, but through the coverage of that fake news on mainstream news outlets. So when, say, for example, during the Supreme Court nomination of Ketanji Brown Jackson, was Senator Josh Hawley started to make some completely unfounded and frankly ridiculous racist allegations about her connection to child pornography. Again, false, not just unverified, wrong. And so many news outlets, my own, NPR, CBS, all of the main news outlets, New York Times, they even ran with headlines with Ketanji Brown Jackson's name and somewhere in the headline, child porn. The reason you never want to do that is because we know how the brain processes this kind of information. And it is irresponsible to do that because we know, neurologically speaking, lies are easier to remember than truth. Even if the truth is more logical, better supported by evidence, after a debate, we know that the people listening, the audience, is more likely to remember the lies they heard than the facts. And that is especially true when a lie is repeated. Then that's true of so much information. It's repeated and repeated and repeated. Why do you think that political parties send out their representatives with the same talking points to give these interviews in multiple news networks? Because many studies show that repeated information is often perceived by our brains as more truthful. It's called the illusory truth effect. I'll quote you from an article that was published in Nature. It said, illusory truth can persist months after first exposure, regardless of cognitive ability, meaning doesn't matter how smart you are, how much you know, and despite contradictory evidence from an accurate source or accurate prior knowledge. Which is all to say that illusory truth, that false information will still be held into your brain, even if it's been debunked, even if it's been fact-checked. Richard Sima, who's a neuroscientist, said misinformation is more likely to be believed, remembered, and later recalled even after we learn that it was false. Hearing the truth doesn't delete a falsehood from our memory. Look, there's more that we don't know about the brain than that we do, but we do know how a human brain processes false information. And the absolute best strategy to prevent spreading it is to stop it from being heard in the first place. One cognitive psychologist said it seems to be cognitively impossible to listen to something, understand it, and at the same time not believe it. The false information, the outrage, is stickier than whatever quote tweet you posted saying, look at what a lie this is and how this is not true. Purveyors of information, whether they know this because they've read the studies or they just instinctively know that it works, they do this intentionally. Bad actors know that credible news outlets will cover their stupid allegations, their dumb claims, their conspiracy theories. They know they will, even if it's just to debunk them. They know those ridiculous stories about Jewish space lasers will be covered by news organizations. And we know that those ridiculous, stupid Jewish space lasers are more likely to stick in the audience's brain, regardless of what their political leanings are. Even if they are liberal, even if they don't believe them, they will stick in their brain. Neuroscientists literally call it stickier. It is stickier information. which is why you cannot continue to post this in any manner whatsoever. If you're a journalist and you need to talk about this, you can say, Josh Hawley made a bunch of false claims trying to link Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to blah, 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 blah. And from the very beginning, you're going to always constantly label it as false, and you're never going to repeat the words that he used. The bullshit asymmetry principle, which is I think it began in like 2013. It basically says that it takes more energy to debunk misinformation than it does to simply ignore it. You can find a pretty good summary on Wikipedia. In fact, it's Brandolini's law. Alberto Brandolini is a programmer. And again, it says the law states that the amount of energy needed to refute bullshit is an order of magnitude bigger than that was needed to produce it. And this is actually backed up by neuroscientific evidence. Don't repeat it. Don't screenshot it. Don't get outraged about it. The best thing you can do when people try to spread these things is not spread it. Ignore it. Talk about something else. Okay, have a good one and be kind. Always, always, always be kind.